They've
Good.
worked out.
Okay, so it's better. Okay.
Because, yeah, technically on paper, we're listed as owner of that building.
Right.
And so we had to authorize the demo for the ramp.
Right.
So I had to sign with Joe, with Jim Bosco. Yeah. Probably.
Okay, John.
I run the air conditioner all winter. I
There's
mean,
mine.
Wrong guy to ask.
Kevin Blofeld.
To meet you.
I have my office, I turn the heater on, it just gets like to 90 degrees.
Sitting on your desk with a towel.
I turn it off, it goes down to like 60 and okay, I have to up, down, up, down.
But I'll take my pen back. I'm using it now. Okay, all right.
You took my chair.
Like to
Does
call,
he have my earbuds?
I don't
like to
think-
call Joe to take his seat for starting. Like to call this meeting of the Broome County Industrial Development Agency of December 15th, 2021 to order. Looking for a motion to approve the transcript of our November 17th board meeting with comments if you wish.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Dan. Is there a second?
Second, Brian.
Thank you, Brian. Any comments, questions, suggestions? We'll call for a vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Hi.
Any opposed? Thank you all. Come to the part of our agenda where we have our public comment session. Anybody wishing to speak on any matter concerning the IDA, feel free to state your name and address for the record, and please limit your comments to 5 minutes. We'll call that session to a close. Executive Director reports. Stacy, updates, please.
Yes, I got a tickle in my throat right as that moment. Excuse me. Yeah, just a few things. I just wanted to share good news with the board. Some of what, some of the things, items we've been directly and or tangentially involved with. But just if you have not heard, there's been a lot of announcements on state and federal funding, some coming to our community, which is great news. The governor announced CFA awards as of yesterday, I believe, and some good things happening here in Broome County. The few I wanted to just note, because we have a lot of project activity in these areas, the town of Union did receive $100,000 to do a smart growth comprehensive plan for the town. That will be an update to their 2010 comprehensive plan. And tied in the most recent announcement with the Village of Endicott's 10 million DRI award. That's also great news, and I'm sure we'll somehow integrate into this plan. And the Village of Endicott, the more good news for them. They did receive, and we worked with them not directly on writing this, but through our continued information share, our meetings that Brendan manages. We did discuss the potential application on the Endicott BOA, or a Brownfield Opportunity Area nomination for in and around the Huron campus. Encourage them to do that application. They were awarded $300,000 through Department of State, and to develop a BOA nomination plan for a 429-acre area that includes Washington Ave, downtown, surrounding manufacturing, commercial and residential areas. With that, they'll open themselves up, and project developers can open themselves up to the Brownfield Tax Credit Program, and as well additional federal funds to do abatement and remediation. So that's, I think, great news for them. And just a few others that I wanted to know. Buckingham Manufacturing is a perennial applicant and awardee on workforce. So those businesses that have some workforce needs, we always encourage to apply, receive $48,000 to do more training programs. And I know they're doing a lot in-house with training because of the worker shortage. They've kind of created their own apprenticeship program. And the UHS most recently was awarded just under $1 million, $991,000 to do childcare. So again, another topic that we know is a significant need in our community, and we're thrilled for them, and got a nice note from John Carrick for our continued support of the hospital and their efforts. And then lastly, some good news. We joined in on a letter of support and are listed as a partner in Binghamton University's recent announcement of receipt of $500,000 shortlist award for the EDA Build Back Better program that's being run through really directly out of the university, but in partnership with the Downtown Incubator and clean energy programs there. One of the things is funding to build a battery manufacturing hub in Endicott, near where activity is happening with IM3 New York. So if successful, that could be $100 million coming to the community. So a lot of great things happening in and around the community, and especially concentration. You've always said, Endicott will get its time, and it does seem like that's happening. So we're thrilled to support in any way that we can with that. And I did have the good fortune to do a tour of IM3's manufacturing facilities, and it's coming along nicely, and they are very appreciative of our continued support for their growth there. There's only one other final item I'd like to do on the record in our meeting today. As you all know, Tom Gray is retiring.
That's a pretty big one.
Your
vision is gone.
Effective March 31 of 2022. So I'm now trying to slow the clock down a little bit, because Tom has been here for 20 years with the organization. He was here when I came here in 2014. I consider him my own, sort of, I call him, he doesn't know this, I hope he doesn't mind this, but I think of him as my Yoda. He's my sage consultant and, wise.
He was here when you were in high school. Come on.
So it will be hard, it'll be odd to experience coming here without Tom being here, but we're thrilled for the next chapter for he and Diane. And we just have just something commemorative for him that we'd like to present today, and maybe a cake in your future, Tom, too. You never know.
No shit.
So, it is.
Is that our-
So-
Don't put that in the.
So, presented to Tom Bucky Gray in recognition of 20 years of commitment to economic and community development with the agency. Tom, I just can't thank you enough for your counsel, your humor, and your willingness to help me succeed. And I know I speak for the whole team with that. And so we will miss you, but we have you on speed dial. So the best to you and Diane.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So. That is all that I have for my report.
Thank you, Stacy. You've all had a chance to look at the internal financial report through November 30th. Any questions?
Just one quick question. Several of these we've seen for a long time, but Grow Hemp LLC is now 120 days out. Background on that.
You're not gone yet.
First of all, I'd like the board to know that I have told the staff that anything that doesn't or hasn't worked up to this point, blame it on me. Let's start with Grow Hemp.
Right.
Actually, Joe and I have been working with the attorneys representing Grow Hemp as well as Street Deck, which we partnered with in the loan to Grow Hemp. The principal died. We still have a personal guarantee with his brother, who we will be pursuing at some point. So we're in the beginning stages of putting more food on Joe's table to get our. I think we're owed a little less than 50,000.
It's in the 30,000, but I spoke with Gabe Rossetti this morning, who's the attorney for Street Ed. And we both have been in touch with Hinman's. In fact, Jim Warband at Hinman's is the executor of Jeff Bump's estate. Says, but in any event, they're attempting to resurrect that life insurance policy, but we don't have a full set of what the assets in the estate are, and whether that's the avenue we take or whether we just go straight after here in Torrance. But again, I'm working directly with Rossetti, because we're partners. We have an inter-creditor agreement, sharing agreement.
And
So
David Bump is actually at this point in time a stronger
absolutely.
guarantor than his brother was.
You good, Brian? Yep. Any other questions? Comments?
I have one more thing I forgot. I can do a little bragging on some of the team here. In Tom's place, it was recommended that Natalie Abadessa join the Street Ec, which is the Southern Tier Regional Economic Development Corporation. Tom served as the chair of the loan committee there. I serve on the full board and Tom chaired the loan committee. So recommended to George Minor that Natalie step into that role. And did you have your first meeting?
Yeah,
yet?
yesterday.
She had her
Yeah,
first
that's good.
meeting, so she's now representing Broome County on the Street Ec Loan Committee. So we're excited to have her get started with that.
One comment, with the exception of our building, and it's nominal, our building cost,
Mhm.
we're year to date, we're in great shape in every single category of the budget. You know, revenue wise, we're out of the water, and the expenses are all, with the exception of that legal bill. I'm kidding.
Always an outlier.
We're in really good shape.
Thanks to the team on that.
Any additional questions or comments on the financials or the loan activity reports? Moving on to new business. Resolution approving an extension of the December 1st, 2020 sales and use tax exemption with One North Depot LLC from December 1st, 2020. It's from December 1st.
Yeah, it's a typo, it's my mistake.
Should be 21.
2021.
Thank
Yes,
you.
I'm sorry.
From December 1st, 2021 through and including December 1st, 2022, the total amount which shall not exceed $360,000. Stace?
Yes, this did go through governance committee, and I'll just, briefly state, this has sort of been a continuation of a theme we're seeing. I think it's still continued financial impacts of COVID and related issues. We did get this letter from One North Depot. This is Josh Bishop's project in the city of Binghamton. This is the building just across the railroad tracks from Remlix, if you're familiar with that area. And it is slated to be market rate apartments. Josh has assured us the project is still in motion. It's just been hit with a lot of delays related to material costs, supply chain delays, and lack of skilled labor. He's requesting just a term extension for 1 year through December 31, 2022. And a great question came up by Brian in governance committee. Some of these requests, are they reasonable at this point? My recommendation to the governance was I think given continued fallout, this is really a year we're still seeing a lot of financial impacts. But anything beyond this year with sort of repeat requests, I would recommend we would do a deeper dive in 2022.
Makes perfect sense. Mayor, this came out of governance.
It did. We move it forward as a motion to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Jim.
Jim, thank you. Any discussion? Let's have a vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. Moving on to item number 7, resolution accepting an application from UB Family LLC, a special purpose entity established by the company for a leaseback transaction to facilitate the financing of the construction and development of 549 plus parking spaces within the 5-level municipal parking garage located at 183 Water Street in the city of Binghamton, Broome County, New York, to be owned by the Binghamton Local Development Corporation and the acquisition, construction, development, renovation, and equipping of approximately 123 plus or minus new apartments to be constructed on 5 floors above the aforementioned municipal parking garage to provide for a state and local sales and use tax exemption benefit in an amount not to exceed $905,680, to provide a mortgage tax exemption in an amount not to exceed $187,000, to provide for a real property tax exemption in an amount not to exceed $18,462,086 pursuant to the pilot schedule attached hereto as Exhibit A, including a deviation from the agency's uniform tax exemption policy and authorizing the agency to set and conduct a public hearing with respect thereto. That might be the longest.
That was-
resolution. I'd be glad to repeat it after the meeting, Joe.
Yeah.
Stacy.
Yes, this did also go through governance. I will note with not a lot of discussion at this point. At this point in time, the action by the board is to accept and essentially open public deliberation on this project by accepting the application. It also does authorize us to set up a public hearing at the appropriate time. I will note a few things on this before I get into some of the detail on the project. You do have in your packet our newer form of cost benefit analysis that does provide a deeper dive into some of the project details. This is a new software we're using with MRB Group. So that is included in your packet just behind your project summary review. And as well, per the request of the board, we are also working with National Development Council, and we will be getting a sort of a summary, an independent third-party summary, and that I will make available as soon as we receive that. So that will also provide some additional, I think, detail on this project. This is, I think it's a complex but really innovative project for the city. I won't spend too much time. We do have Jeff Smetana on the line with the United Group. Hi, Jeff. But it's an exciting project. It's a $28 million project to remove the existing garage on Water Street, the one that is attached to and adjacent to the current Boscov's building. It includes the reconstruction of that parking garage and as well, and forgive me the exact number of apartments, but over 100 market rate apartments with a riverfront view. So new tax revenue for the first time. There is currently nothing there that brings in tax revenue at that parcel. So new tax revenue to the city with regard to property taxes. The pilot schedule, the request, it is a deviation. It is a 28-year request. The pilot schedule is nuanced compared to ones we traditionally see. It's structured more like a pilot increment finance pilot, in that the bond, some of the debt on the bonds is included in the breakdown of the pilot schedule. Just some details on that. The city will make pilot will make payments on pilot bonds in years 1 and 2. At closing on financing for the apartments, the apartment owners will pay the city through the owner group, the $323,000, that's the city's payment on the debt as a reimbursement for those payments. The city will utilize a pilot payment plus air rights to make payments for the pilot bonds and distribute the balance, if any, to the city, county, and school district in the form of a pilot payment. So again, this is not the traditional structure we see, but it does cover the cost of the infrastructure within the schedule. Total payments by apartment owners constitutes the total amount to be paid in pilot and air right payments. The new municipal garage will serve residents, businesses, and visitors, as well as support Boscov's continuing success as a critical driver of retail activity downtown. It is my understanding that the city, Mayor David, are making great progress with Boscov's on a longer term lease agreement and a renovation to that facility. The apartments will attract millennial and boomer resident base. The purchase price and new property taxes represent new revenue to the city that would not otherwise be available. And because the city currently owns the site, there are no taxes being paid. So with that, I think maybe best at this point is just to see if there's any questions or allow Jeff to offer some comment. however you'd
Yeah,
like
let's,
to proceed.
Jeff, would you like to offer anything beyond what Stacy has suggested or said?
Sure. Well, thanks for having us. Thanks for considering our application. We're very excited about the project. It is a very interesting project, and that it is putting privately owned apartments above the publicly owned garage. They're sitting overlooking the Shenango River there, and right in the downtown business district. So it's utilizing this air right structure to accomplish that. So it is very interesting. We appreciate everyone's willingness to get into this detailed of a structure and really make something like this work. Just to clarify some of the explanation of the project, with the garage itself, of course, is being owned and developed by the city's local development corp. So it's described in the overall project in that it will be supporting the apartments, but none of the costs that are within our budget cover any of the costs of the garage. Those are all separate. Just if there was any misunderstanding on the way the project was initially described. The abatement of the current garage is currently underway. Gorick Construction will be starting demolition on December 27th. And the process will go forward from there. We expect to be in the city with our project, the apartment project entitlements, in parallel with the garage. So they'll proceed through the process hand in hand. So everyone will have a chance to really understand how the garage is being designed and proposed in the same way that the apartments are being proposed. And this is a project that the United Group will own and operate. We have our own management company, United Plus Property Management, that's been managing multifamily properties for close to 40 years for similar entities within the United Group. So we're going to become business owners and part of the community, and we're very much looking forward to that. On the call also is Michael Ussolini, who's the principal and CEO of the United Group. And he's very excited about the project as well. And we're really looking forward to getting into the development process.
Thank you, Jeff. Any questions for Jeff or Michael before we move to governance? Mayor, this was discussed in governance?
And just to piggyback on what Stacy said, who is accepting.
Mayor, you're hang on us. Go ahead. Start over again, please.
Okay, I might have to switch to my phone. Normally, we accept an application with the premise of immediately setting a public hearing. In this case, we are accepting the application, as Stacy said, to start the public deliberation on it. But we, as the governance committee and the board, will then do our deep dive and analysis of the application and the component parts to it. And when that's complete, we will set the public hearing. So we're moving it forward as a motion today to accept the application.
Okay. And to call a public hearing at a later date.
Yes. Yes.
Is there a second to that motion?
Jim.
Who's the only one in this room? Thank you, Jim. Is there any discussion or questions beyond what we've asked? Let's call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Carried. Thank you, gentlemen. Item number 8, resolution accepting an application.
That's the one, right?
It's the one.
Yeah. I have a conflict, so I'll leave for that.
Do we need anything?
Joe needs to be back in a couple hours. Find a pen for Joe. Resolution accepting an application from PM Property Matters LLC and authorizing a sales and use tax exemption in an amount not to exceed $13,720, consistent with the policies of the agency in connection with the acquisition, expansion, renovation, and equipping of the property and building located at 21 Emma Street in the city of Binghamton, Broome County, New York. Stacy?
Yes, this is a project that comes all the way from California. PM Press is transitioning its global distribution center, event space, and headquarters from Oakland, California to upstate New York. At a building located at 21 Emma Street in the city of Binghamton will be their new shipping receiving center, processing over $1 million in book orders annually and event and book fair space. PM Press is also acquiring Autumn Leaves on the Ithaca Commons as a retail outlet. They expect that the full cost of transition will be approximately $1 million. That includes building acquisition, new construction improvements, equipment purchase, and associated costs totaling $853,500. The remainder will be shipping costs and added employee costs and accommodations. Upgrades and additions are needed to create a safe, attractive environment for their core operations. The property also requires safety upgrades, minor repairs, and extensive cleaning, as it was sat vacant for nearly a decade. And they will purchase equipment for the warehouse operations and additional office equipment. PM Press expects 3 FTEs, full-time employees, to operate in the facility. 2 will be stationed at the facility full-time, while they expect another 1 person within PM to be at the facility as needed during peak times. And at least 1 other FTE will be located in Ithaca, New York. So the project applicant, Andy Pragatz, I hope I'm saying that right, is on the call. I should have checked with him earlier. Is on the call to answer questions, but a little bit on the project details. Total project cost is about $945,000, of which what is eligible for sales tax is $171,500, which makes them eligible for an exemption at the 8% of $13,720.
Thank you, Stacy. Would the owner like to offer anything in addition to what Stacy has suggested?
I just want to clarify, I'm not the owner, but I'm the operator for the new warehouse. I'm actually in our current warehouse out here in Oakland. The only other thing that I want to add is that I'm actually from Binghamton, and I'm actually from the first ward where this building is going. My family actually has lived in the first ward for about 100 years. So I'm really, really happy and proud to be able to bring this facility to Binghamton. And I think it's going to be a tremendous benefit to the community at large. We're hoping to do some large scale beautification of the space, including dealing with retaining wall that's in the front, and really turning it into a really attractive and vibrant space. So thank you very much for the consideration. Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming back. Appreciate it.
Oh, I actually live in Binghamton, and I'm just out here helping for the Christmas rush. So that's what I've been packing all morning.
Yeah, and you suggested we come back.
I live over on the west side of Binghamton.
It's a good problem to have, Andy. Packing.
It is, oh, it's a great problem
Orders.
to have. No, yeah, I had to get in quite early. Which is a good, very good problem. Agreed.
Thank you. Mayor, this came through governance.
It did. We move it forward as a motion to approve.
Is there a second? other than
I'm on a
Jim?
roll, I got it. You're not stopping me
Yeah, Jim seconded
today.
that. Any discussion? We'll have a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Approved. Thank you very much.
You let Dan back in?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you all very much. I hope you have a good holidays.
you.
Item number 9, resolution approving an extension of the December 20th, 2019 sales and use tax exemption agreement with Canopy Growth USA LLC and HIP New York Developments LLC from December 31st, 2021 through and including December 31st, 2022, a total of which shall not exceed $3,200,000. Stacy?
Yes, very similar to our previous item on the agenda. Similar reasons, delays related to materials and supply costs have delayed this project as well. But most significantly is the regulatory uncertainty regarding hemp and hemp products. They were sort of on a roll pre-COVID, and COVID did slow things down, made that less of a priority. I have had multiple conversations with David Culver, who is the VP for Government Relations and been my main contact with Canopy since their beginning. They're very committed to the location. They're still very committed to the project. Like many things, they're just significantly delayed. They do still have Chase construction locally as their general contractor, and we've had follow-ups with them, and things are still proceeding, just not at the pace they'd wish. So this falls in that same category of, I think, another year is reasonable. Beyond that, I think we would want to take a deeper dive into it.
Thank you, Stacy. Mayor, this came before governance.
It did. We move it forward as a motion to approve.
Thank you, Mayor. Is there a second?
I knew you wanted it. My mouth shut.
He's too quick over here.
Thank you, Dan. Is there discussion?
You're having a hell of a day, man.
No discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Moving on. Item number 10, discussion regarding conflict of interest policy. And I have my name next to it. I think this went through governance.
It did.
Okay,
Mhm.
so I'll start with you, Stacy.
Yeah, essentially, as I said, we do our best to keep pace on the latest guidance and updates from the ABO, the Public Authorities Office in New York State, which is our sort of oversight office. And in our most recent IDA Academy, they stress the importance of review and of your conflict of interest policies, ensuring that you have a strong, proper protocol in place that align with those. So we had included some information in your packet. And what we're recommending is just more of a structured process by which, and that's the short document, sort of the executive summary. Everything on that bulleted list will be the process we will use moving forward. And it just, most of it relies on notification, at least when agendas come out. So the new process will be when agendas come out, that anyone with a conflict would notify myself, Joe Mayor, and also, which I did not realize, they recommend your governance committee. So Rich Bucci as chair. That way it gives time for Joe to vet if there is in fact a conflict and if it's a prohibitive conflict, as the lawyers would say. So this document will be the new process and procedure moving forward. I did want to acknowledge Cheryl made a great point in so much as revisions and keeping those to a minimum so that there is appropriate time for board members to review. And so that was what we discussed.
Mayor, this came before governance?
Does,
Is
we
there-
move it forward as a motion to approve?
Okay. Is there any confusion or concern as it relates to this?
No, I think it's just to kind of codify a stronger process. I mean, from time to time, we'll get questions from board, is it not? I think mostly it just relates to the timing of such information and clarification, really.
And a board member has a right, I mean, we look to Joe
Yes.
for
And
opinion, but a board member has a right to say, I clearly have a conflict, and I'm
Sure.
gonna back away from this.
At the end of the day, it's a self-analysis.
Got it. Okay. With the motion at hand, is there a second that goes with that?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Bob.
Yay.
Is there any discussion?
Got you.
If not, we'll have a vote. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Abstentions? Obviously not. Thank you all. Recommendation to approve changes to the employee handbook. Mr. Peduto.
This was covered in the Personnel Committee earlier today. Comes forward as a motion. I'll let Stacy elaborate very briefly, but primarily concerned additions with regard to workplace safety, which is inclusion of the HERO Act, DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion provisions, and a handful of other
Telecommuting.
telecommuting, sick pay to be in line with new statutory requirements. So do you have anything to add to that?
That's essentially it. We kept, for the board's information, everything that is in red type, red font print in your document. It is an item that does require personnel approval.
And we approved it
Okay, so
and move it forward as a motion.
perfect. So there's a motion. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Thank you, Dan. Any discussion? I thank you for putting it in red, by the way. I no offense, but I would. On a
Learned
Sunday.
it. Yeah, you didn't want to read all
To
that?
read that entire document. Is there discussion other than my silly comments? Let's have a vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. Looking for a motion to go into executive session to discuss personnel matters and the sale of real property. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Dan. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dan. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are moving in that direction.